What a win. We challenged the guys early in the week that we needed to take the next step as a football team. We were been prepared for it. We kind of built for this. We knew the non-con schedule was going to be extremely difficult. We knew adversity had struck, losing Skyler, and we challenged the guys to rise up, get their game to the next level, and show that we can play with a really quality team like Nevada. And I was so pleased with how we played throughout the game. There were some lulls, but give those guys credit. Nevada's a really good football team, but for us to be able to rush the football like we did consistently is a credit to our offensive line and tight ends. For us to hit the big play is a credit to Will Howard. We'll talk about that, and Daniel Imatorbebe for making a big play. And then that's a great offensive football team. And quarterback's a dynamite player. Wide receiver number 7 is a great player, and we talked about having to make them one-dimensional. And I think they rushed for 25 yards on 23 carries. That's making them one-dimensional. So overall, really pleased with the win, really pleased with the progress that we've made through 3 games. We have a lot of work to do. We've got to get a lot better. We got to get healed up because we're nicked up a little bit right now. But excited about the win and excited for the guys because they've earned this. They've worked their tails off since last winter, spring, summer, fall, to make sure that they improve this culture that we have, and they improve the locker room, and they improve on a daily basis and challenge each other, and they did that today.
Chris, you guys won the fourth quarter by a substantial margin. What do you think it was about the performance today that allowed you to do that?
To allow us to win the fourth quarter, you're saying? Well, we played some really good defense at times in the fourth quarter. They were going to move the football. We just had to stop them on some 3rd and 4th downs. And then once they made a great adjustment in the second half in how they ran their blitz. They were blitzing the dog out of us trying to stop the run. And we had success in the first half, and then they made an adjustment in the 3rd quarter and really did a nice job. And then we countered that, and I thought made a great adjustment. Coach Riley, Coach Mess, and the offensive staff to shore that up and to get it blocked again. And then it was just keep handing the thing off because we knew we could cut them off. And then the guys just started playing with some confidence, and I thought we started to wear them down.
Coach, we got to see Jaron Lewis for the first time today. Just your thoughts on how he played, and then I guess also the decision to get him in early in the game.
Well, the decision was made on Sunday or Monday when Coach Mess and Coach Klieman and I talked that we were going to play both guys, and both guys deserved an opportunity to play. We brought, Colin and I brought both of the 2 players in and said, Will, you're the starter, and Jaron, you're going to play. Not because of anything Will's done, but because of the body of work that Jaron has shown us in the spring, the summer, and the fall, that he deserved that opportunity. And so I was excited. We told him he was going to play in either the 3rd or 4th series, then we figured out from there. And he ended up playing 2 series, getting a couple of scoring drives, I believe. Manufactured the game exceptionally well. There was a lot of checks. I know he didn't throw the ball at 2 for 3, but there was a lot of checks at the line of scrimmage. And it's a selfless act when 2 kids know that they're going to play and they know that they're going to share time. That's a selfless act, and that's one of our core values. And those 2 kids were selfless and helped each other, and I thought they both provided a spark and both played well.
You mentioned being nicked up. Do you have any update on either Khalid or Josh?
I think Revo came back in. I think he did. They told me he was good to come back in. I do not have an update on Khalid.
Coach, after Khalid went down, could you kind of talk about the defensive line and how they kind of stepped up there?
Well, we're playing so many guys on the defensive line. It's fun to watch those guys. Nate Matlock made a phenomenal play on a 4th down and getting the guy a yard short. What a big time play from a freshman from Olathe, Kansas, another Kansas kid that's stepping up and playing huge for the Wildcats. But overall, we play a ton of guys. They all have a great motor. They all get to the football. They put pressure on the passer. I don't know if we sacked him very many times. I don't even have that on there. But I know we pressured him an awful lot, and we did get some hits on him, and I know we had a few sacks.
2 questions. Number 1, Howard's 68-yard touchdown. What kind of lift was that for you guys early?
Huge lift, and we had a play designed, and Will changed the route with Daniel at the line of scrimmage, and that was next level communication by a kid that is settling in and sees the field really well. And he was supposed to run an out breaking cut, and he changed it to an in breaking cut because he thought the safety was overplaying it, and he was, and so Daniel set him up to the outside, beat him back across his face. It was Will Howard that made the check, Daniel that picked it up, made the completion, and then, you know, he can really run, and he fought off two guys and ended up scoring. Huge play to start the game, in a game that, you know, we need explosive plays, and to get one right off the bat was huge.
And then Deuce, first guy since a guy named Darren Sproles to have 5 consecutive 100-yard games. I think he also reached 1,000 yards for his career. I know you talk about him every week. What can you say about him?
Special player, special talent, humble kid, and he would tell you the same thing I'm gonna tell you. Let's credit the offensive line and tight ends and fullbacks because they blocked really well. And let's also give a little shout out to Joe Urban. Boy, he runs so hard, and you know, he had 11 carries for 82 yards and almost 7.5 yards a carry. The kid just pounds the football, and he's such a downhill runner. Even though they're similar in stature, it's kind of a change of pace, and so happy with Joe Urban's progress. It's really helping us with Deuce as well.
Kind of building off that, when you run the ball 48 out of 61 offensive plays and you have the kind of success you did, does that make a football coach's heart very happy?
Well, part of that was by design to try to keep their offense on the sideline. They're an empty 70% of the time, and even though their tempo, they're not going fast, but it's hard when it's 5 wides and they're pitching it around, and you're trying to rush the passer and the ball's out, and you're running different personnels in there for us defensively. That the best defense for us was our offense on the field, and when we were able to sustain some nice drives, which we did, it gave our guys a chance to rest, as well as it gave us a chance to make some adjustments, because jersey number 7, the wide receiver, can't think of his name, but he's a great player. He'd not played inside all season, he played outside. So on the big play, they moved him inside. So all of our coverages were dictated on him being outside. So then we had to go back to the drawing board and draw some coverages up to try to make sure that we had some over-the-top help with him inside. I thought Coach Klieman and the defensive staff did a great job, and the kids understood it. We talked before the game about dominating the details of the game plan, and that's one of the details that we talk about. They made an adjustment, and then our secondary and our coaches made a great adjustment knowing where he was at.
Chris, can you go into a little more detail about the performance of your offensive line?
Yeah, challenge those guys. Challenge those guys from the start of the week to the end of the week to every drive. You know, when it was 17-17, we ended up having a big-time drive, 8 plays, 75 yards to go up 24-17, and it couldn't be a field goal there. We needed a touchdown, and I thought that set the tone. And then we were able to, I think, get a quick 3 and out and get another touchdown right after that with an 11-play, 62-yard drive. That's the offensive line saying, just keep giving it to the guys, coach, and we'll keep giving them yards, and we'll keep pushing the pile. And so excited for those guys, because Coach Riley is a phenomenal offensive line coach and gets the most out of all those kids, and they believe that we can run the ball against everybody, and we did today.
And you talked about making Nevada one-dimensional. Is there some aspects that you guys are becoming one-dimensional?
You know, but if it's 38-17, we'll live with that today, because we found a way to win. And no question, we need to be able to throw the football better, but there's nothing wrong with being 2nd and 2 by running the ball for 8 yards. If we were 2nd and 10, I'd say we've got to make some changes. But when you rush the ball for 269 yards, we're going to continue to rush the football.
Speaking on the offensive line, elaborate a little bit more. You had you were down to 8 or 9 different linemen in there. Those next 3 or 4, how'd you feel like they contributed here today?
We'll have to watch the film, but I was glad that Hadley got in there, Logan Long got in there, Katori got in there. That was by design. We were going to play those guys. Hadley Panzer's going to be a really good football player for a young player. We just need to get him some snaps, and so excited and see how he does, and it'll probably settle him down as we get into conference play, because we know we're going to need him in the conference play.
He Jensen gets a pick off strong, his 2nd interception of his career. How big of a play was that?
It was a huge play to be able to, you know, that guy doesn't throw many interceptions, and I thought we should have had 2 more that we undercut and didn't quite make, but it was a critical play. I think it led to a short field for us, and I think it got us a field goal out of that to get us up 17-7. we have to be able to create turnovers. And, you know, the other thing that we haven't talked about yet is we did not turn the football over. And if you don't turn the football over and you can rush the football and you can play competitive enough defense, you're going to have a chance to win games in the fourth quarter. And I'll be honest with you, that's all we're asking these guys to do, is not make mistakes and make people beat us. And let's get games in the fourth quarter and see where we're at.
Chris, two more for you. Immediately after that interception, you guys actually were flagged for defensive sports going penalty. I know penalties aren't great in these situations, but can you actually live with it when it's the
Well, we got to educate the guys on that. I think everybody thinks they're in the NFL right now, and you go down and there's cameras and stuff, and Coach Malone's going to handle that one on Sunday and Monday. Happy for the guys, they made a play, and I know that you can't take all the fun out of it, but in the same respect, I get why the officials called it. It was the right call. We need to educate our guys so that we don't have that, because that hurt losing 15 yards.
And in the fourth quarter, you mentioned wearing him down, but Will Howard seemed to just really be at home in the offense there. Was there something you noticed that allowed him to settle in that time?
Just keep giving it to him a little bit. When you get banged around and hit a few times, you start realizing, oh, I can settle in and play. And they were giving us some runs. They were giving us some quarterback read runs. And he's a 240-pound guy. And when you're 240 pounds, it's like when they went to their Wildcat stuff. We did some good things out of their Wildcat, but there's a 240-pounder. They have a 250-pound kid behind center or in the shotgun in Wildcat. Will provide some of that, and I think that settled him in too, being able to get some good runs. I mean, he rushed for 60 yards and he had a couple of lost yards, I'm sure, so he had about another 12 carries for 60 yards. So we need Will Howard to carry the ball anywhere from 8 to 15 times.
Following up on Will, that's the first game since the KU game last year that he didn't throw a pick. What do you think that does for his confidence that he went out there today and played a clean game?
I think he's seeing pictures so much better. You know, last year was a difficult year for a 17-year-old kid trying to play college football, and the fact that he took every snap in the spring, essentially with the ones, because Skylar didn't practice, I think gave him some confidence against playing against our defense. And I think we have a pretty good defense, that he's just seeing pictures a little bit better. And you know, he knew he made some mistakes last week. Will's a prideful kid, but he's smart enough to realize I can't make those mistakes. And so I thought he just studied the game really hard this week and made sure that he didn't make those mistakes.
And then Carson Strong made a couple of pretty incredible throws in the tight window. How impressive was he as an opposing coach?
He's a tremendous football player, and I've seen it. I saw him make some throws against Cal in the first week, and I saw him make some throws. You know, we were watching bowl games from 2019, and he's dropping dimes. I'm like, this kid played an awful lot of football, and he's very confident. And Jay Norvell does a great job. I've got so much respect for Jay as a man, as a human being, and that's a good football team that's going to win an awful lot of games.
How much does this prepare you for Big 12's high-powered offenses?
Well, it helps. The fact that it's spread and it's no huddle, it probably isn't the fastest tempo. I think the little bit difference is Big 12 offense will have a tight end attached, or at least in the core a little bit more. But the fact that we had to design a game plan to stop a specific player in number 7 in the second half, and a really good quarterback, I think it will help us. It probably will expose a few things that we have to look at ourselves and do a great job in self-scouting of these first 3 weeks. But I like how hard our kids are playing on defense. You know, you can make up for a lot of mistakes. We had some mistakes. We had some guys cut loose in man coverage that we've got to shore up. We were getting home on a quarterback getting hits, and we'll clean up those mistakes. We just got to keep playing hard.
Coach, Julius Brents looked like he kind of had a not very kind of gruesome injury there with his hand, was able to play the rest of the game. Just kind of curious, if he's going to be okay for sure, or kind of what they did.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't talked to Mindy or any of the trainers, whether it's about Julius or Khalid or anybody else. We'll have to see where we're at on Monday or Tuesday.
Anything else?
It didn't really matter in this game, but third quarter again wasn't great offensively. Is there any concern with that, or is it?
Yeah, absolutely. We need to be able to start faster, similar to what we did in the first half this week, first half last week. We drive down and score, and to start the third quarter in the last couple of weeks, we've struggled, or at least this week we struggled. I can't remember last week, but something that we have to look at. We've got to be able to, especially when they have a nice drive, we've got to be able to answer that and manufacture it. So something we'll look at.
Is there any, how's Skylar Thompson doing?
It's a good question. He rehabs every day, and that's where he's at.
And then last thing I got for you is Daniel Matterbebe, you know, had that really nice play, long touchdown. I mean, how key could he be for big plays going forward?
He's a really good target, big kid. Quarterbacks know where he's at, and you know, he's had a big play. I'm hoping that catapults him a little bit because he's a special player, and we're going to need big plays from that position.
Okay, that'll do it. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Have a good night, guys.